Update. I'm leaving my husband tomorrow. Original post. Our marriage, me 29 female and Jack 30 male, was short. Only less than a year, but rocky from the start. I don't even know what possessed me to say yes. Maybe loneliness? Maybe desperation. I don't know. He and his family are openly hostile to my only brother, 18, as I had to take care of him after our parents died. They saw him as unnecessary, and only after marriage I saw how horribly Jack treated him. For your information, my brother lives in our apartment since he wasn't old enough to have his own place. Jack, I'm almost ashamed to say, is not a very good man. He's lazy and never does any house chores, and brother does everything Jack should have done. He plays on his computer all day and goes out to drink with his buddies almost daily. He never hits me or my brother, but he does treat us like his caretakers. I'm honestly getting sick of it. My last straw was when Jack insisted that I give him the inheritance money my brother was set to get for college. I refused. Money has always been a sore spot to him, as admittedly I earn 4 times than he does. And I even keep our finances separate thanks to a lawyer uncle's advice. I fired back saying how he should stop doing freelance work that pays him dirt and not snooping around mine and my brother's business. We fought, and in the middle of that fight he left, leaving his phone behind. I don't know what caused me to poke around his phone. And guess what? Not only he's a lazy piece of work who doesn't even have a stable job to pursue a passion I don't even understand, he's also a cheating bastard. I was heartbroken. I cried myself to sleep. Then I called my lawyer uncle to serve him the divorce paperwork. Jack doesn't know I know about his side piece. He still treats my brother like a nuisance and demands me to hand over our inheritance to him. I keep my silence, as does my brother. He's going to a weekend outing with his buddies tomorrow, and I will pack up my things and leave. Divorce papers on the table. I cut the lease to our apartment, and he'd only have the next week to figure out where he'd go. I got a place across town, closer to my relatives. I'll take care of the rest as I go. I deeply regret marrying this man. He's wasted 2 years of my life, and I'm so angry with myself that I was too blind to see how I should never have married him. Tomorrow, I'm leaving him, and I don't care if I seem like I would not fight for my marriage. I don't have the energy to deal with a grown man who still thinks like a frat boy. Now for the top comments before the updates. Good luck. Listen to your lawyer. All communication should be through them. Thanks. I've blocked his social but not his number. Yet. He'll have to call my uncle for that. Be careful not to let this guy know where you live. Don't text or even take his calls. This all goes through your uncle now. No matter how much you think you know someone, it can become dangerous if your ex goes off the deep end. Best of luck to you and brother. Now get on with a fabulous life. I'm planning to get those 2 cats Jack refused to have, and I'll get on being a fabulous wine cat mom, since we don't have a kid yet. Just knowing I'd be away from him brings me a huge relief. It wasn't a waste, as you learned what you married into. You dodged a bullet by not having a child with him yet. Now you can refresh with the knowledge of red flags. Also, you should apologize to your brother, and the 2 of you go out for dinner and ice cream as loving siblings. Please be safe. I'm worried this animal will be violent when you tell him you're gonna leave or after he finds out. Maybe violent towards you or your brother, plus you said he gets drunk often. I'm not saying call the cops on him for no reason, but be careful. Hopefully he doesn't know the place you're moving into. I would leave without saying a word. Let the divorce papers do the talking. He never hits me because he knows I would at least slap him back. But yes, thank you for the advice. I will be keeping an eye on Anif's insanity should it occurs. I'm mostly worried he'd harass my grandparents, to be honest, but right now they're on a cruise, so they're safe. Now for the first update. It's been a busy weekend. I barely even had a time to open my phone. Over the weekend, I moved out with the help of my 2 best friends, my cousin and my uncle. They were very helpful, and in a day we finished packing up everything and left the apartment. I am now living closer to my uncle, my mom's little brother, and his family, while my brother is waiting to move into his dorms. My uncle helped me installing the cameras outside of our new place. Thank you everyone for the advice. Changed my passwords, PIN numbers, and phone number while we're at it. I took a week off work, and thankfully my boss understood and let me. I wish I could see his face when he came back to the apartment and found the place empty. Some of my friends were called, but they told Jack they didn't know where I went, as I haven't told anyone but my uncle and best friends. Jack came to my uncle's place, but my uncle kicked him out of his property. And while Jack threatened to go all out and contest the divorce, my uncle gave him an ultimatum in return. Sign it without a fuss, or I'll try to get alimony from him. Hopefully Jack won't make a hassle out of the divorce proceedings. As for myself, I'm just happy to be away from him, even with no alimony or divorce settlement. From this point onward, I will have no contact with him or people associated with him. It seems cowardly, but I'd rather avoid a drama. I believe we'll have some kind of drama later, but honestly, as long as he signs that divorce paper, I'm fine with that. I finally talked to my brother and apologized for getting him into such an environment. He was understandably disappointed with me, but he forgave me. He said he was glad that I decided to leave. We had a good crying session over that. Right now, I'm trying to make it up to him. He's a good kid, a smart and tough cookie, and he deserves better. Should he need to, we'll go to therapy together. He convinced me he was okay, and he was mostly angry on my behalf, but I'll keep an eye on that. I haven't adopted the cats yet because my place is still messy and we're not done unpacking. So unfortunately, no cat tax for now. Thank you everyone for cheering me on, giving me lots of virtual hugs and checking up on me. I didn't expect for this much support, and your kindness makes everything feels bearable. A lot of you have given me a sound advice about health tests, security and everything else, which I am very, very grateful for. Some of them I did not even consider. This sounds so cliche and simple, but thank you so much. I hope you all have a great day. Edit to add? We're not from the US, but our laws regarding marriage and divorce is pretty clean cut. I don't think it gets any money from me. Congratulations starting the next chapter of your life. I know no matter how awful he was, this wasn't easy, but I'm so glad to hear that you have the support network you need around you. Good luck, and I think there are a couple lucky cats want to have a wonderful home soon. Thank you. It was very overwhelming when I read all the comments in my post. I wanted to rant a bit, and this was the only place I thought was safer, but it turned out a lot of people were very supportive, even sent me messages out of concern. I don't even care if he found me here. I'm away from him now. I'll be visiting the shelter as soon as I get my apartment in order. I'm so happy and relieved for you. Can't wait till you get the cats and start your new life as a cat mom. Thank you. I was so overwhelmed yesterday, but now I'm more settled. I know it won't be easy shaking him off, but I personally think he won't make too much of a fuss. I can't wait to go to the shelter and get a cat or two. But first, let me clean up my new place because we unpacked in a hurry. I only just found your first post about 10 minutes ago. Wild that you've just posted an update as well. I don't even know you, but I'm so proud of you. My heart was in my chest reading both posts. You're an amazing sister and you've done so much for your brother. This blip will amount to nothing when he is a grown man. But that is only because you did a right thing and got him out of there. As for your now ex-husband, I think you very narrowly dodged a deadly bullet. I agree, now in hindsight. I remember some stuff that should have been a big waving red flag, that maybe I was too ignorant to pay attention to. I felt a little dumb, but at least now I can take a step to fix it. Now for the last update. I don't know. I feel like I owe people some updates, so here I am, on the process of my divorce. He made some fuss, but otherwise agreeable to the terms I set. At least he doesn't harass me or my family anymore. As for his family, some made comments on social media, but my friends were quick to shut them down. I blocked them though. He got a car that I paid for. I'm kind of miffed, but that's okay, as long as I don't have to look at his face ever again. I felt kinda down and sorry for myself, and I blamed myself a little bit. I'm going to try to get better mentally because the guilt was pretty strong. My brother is doing good. More carefree now that he doesn't have to watch himself. I'm so proud of him. A little ashamed of myself, but overall the both of us are doing way better. And we bond better now. And also, I found a cat. Well, he found me. I was throwing out garbage and he came up to me, followed me to the apartment, and made himself at home on top of my unpacked boxes. I think he's a stray, a year-old at most. And I took the photo in a rush because I had to go to work today. Gonna take him to the vet, get him vaccinated, and everything else. Also buy proper food because I only bought small packets of kibble and wet food earlier. Thank you everyone for showing your concerns and support. I guess I won't be making more updates unless something happens. I hope you all have a nice day. I want to add some advice. Some people that were in toxic relationships have a tendency to have their next partners be just as bad. Please consider therapy to help analyze to keep you from having a similar partner in the future. I wish you and your brother the best of luck moving forward. Next story. Am I the a-hole for returning home after I found out that my husband booked first class for him and his friend while I got economy? My husband and I, 30s, haven't been on a trip out of country for years, while he goes every year with his best friend. His reasons for going with him is because they both go to attend sporting events. This year, my husband told me I could go with him and his friend since they were visiting a new destination. He paid for my ticket and everything else since I'm a stay-at-home mom and have no job. The kids were left with my mom. However, when I found out that he had booked first class for himself and his friend while I got economy, I just couldn't hold my tongue. I confronted him about it and he at first refused to discuss it. Then when the argument got heated, he yelled, "I paid for your ticket for Pete's sake. Isn't that enough?" Then kept on about how I should stop acting like I was royalty, and that if I come to think about it, even economy is fine for me since I technically don't work anyway. I cried because of what he said, but decided to just not go altogether. He changed his tone and started begging me to just go with what he planned, but I declined. I went to pick the kids from my mom's house and he came back 3 hours later huffing and puffing about what happened. His friend sent me a text calling me entitled and said this was the reason why he didn't want my husband to take me with them, and I just proved his point. I did not respond, but I blocked him since he's gotten increasingly rude over the past few months. He, my husband, said I keep crying about being excluded, and this is what happens when he finally decides to include me? Am I the a-hole for not settling for economy? By the way, he's perfectly capable of financing the trip. Now for the top comments. If you're a stay-at-home mom, then all the money he earns is shared funds. There is no him paying. In fact, you paid for his first-class ticket as much as he paid for your economy ticket. The level of disrespect is astounding. Divorce him and get half plus alimony, not the whole. I hate to jump on the divorce wagon, but in this case, it's so obvious how much he doesn't care or even respect OP. Not the whole times 1 million. I'm not sure why he even married OP. It seems like he's already in a long-term relationship with his friend. It was my very first thought. Why does he want to have alone trips every year with his friend? And why would he seat his own wife in a totally different class than himself? So she can't be around them? I almost have a feeling he would make her stay in her own room too while he shared one with his friend. Is your husband having an affair with his friend? Why is his friend so rude to you? And why is friend being treated like the spouse in this situation? Whether or not he's having an affair, he's definitely shown you how he feels about you. Not the a-hole. This. Maybe you should reevaluate your marriage. Maybe when they are on the trip, talk to a lawyer, get a divorce, and change the locks. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for yelling at my girlfriend for baking a dessert for a dinner party? I, 26 male, have been dating my girlfriend Rosie, 23 female, for a year now. Rosie and my mother do not get along. It's just about the fact that their personality differences are so large. My mom is a more conservative and reserved person, and Rosie is the opposite of that. My mom is a really picky person and has never been happy with anyone I date over the years. But I usually ignore her because it's not her life. Yes, I always shut down my mother's snarky comments about anyone I date. On to the problem. Tomorrow night, my mother is hosting a dinner party for everyone in our family. I'm not sure about other families/cultures, but usually when we throw dinner parties, everyone will bring something. I thought this was the perfect time for Rosie and my mom to get along better. I told Rosie that she should homemake something. I also made something. My mother hates anything sweet, so I told Rosie to refrain from baking any desserts. Rosie said she wanted to bake something because it's what she does best when it comes to the kitchen. I just told her to look up a recipe on Google. She was quiet, and about an hour later I came downstairs because I could smell something sweet, and I found Rosie piping macaron batter. I freaked out. I started yelling about how I told her to specifically not make anything sweet, because this was her one chance to get on my mother's good side, and I feel like she only made a dessert to be petty. She got upset and told me to not raise my voice at her, and that she was not doing it to be petty. She just doesn't care what my mother thinks of her and that my mother's not the only guest at the dinner party. I got frustrated and made a mistake of telling her to stay home instead, and she told me that she would and that she now would not go no matter what, even if I changed my mind. I regret telling her that because if she doesn't go, my mother will really not like her. But am I the a-hole for telling her not to bake something sweet? Edit. I made a lasagna for the party. I keep seeing that question, so I thought I would put it here. And yes, it is homemade. You're the a-hole. You yelled at her for baking, dude. WTF. Your mom has never liked a single person you've dated, and you think Rosie choosing to make a dessert instead of a savory dish is going to make the slightest bit of difference? It won't. Rosie can't win with your mom, so she might as well make something she can do well that others will enjoy, than contribute some half-assed thing that she's not confident about. You owe her a massive apology. Also, don't freak out about small items and say things you don't mean. It is very immature, and a great way to drive away your significant other and your friends. One of the lessons my mom taught me I have always tried to follow: never say anything in anger you can't take back. You're the a-hole. Your girlfriend is right. There are other people at a party. She doesn't need to cater to your mother solely. Also, why is it such a big deal that your mom doesn't like sweet foods? There's plenty of other food there, I'm sure, so she can eat something that your girlfriend didn't make. The awful cherry on top of this story is that you yelled at your girlfriend about a really stupid point. You're playing into your mother's pettiness, and I feel bad for your